Part 5. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 42. Chi Shulai felt slightly relieved when he saw that these people didn't mean to be aggressive. He was at fault in this matter. As long as today's matter can be fooled, he doesn't have to lose face. As long as you're not angry, Chi Shulai smiled like a good old man. You haven't eaten yet, go to my house for dinner. Chi Shulai greeted Niu Daijin. As for Chi Xiaoyan and He Tian, they were from the same village and could go home to eat and did not need to be greeted by him. This Niu Daijin has a decent job, and he is from the city now. If his eldest sister can find such a partner, he will have no worries about food and drink for the rest of his life. He has a son-in-law who eats the country's food, which is also very respectable. No, it's getting late, I should go back. Niu Daijin refused, turned, and walked out of the village, not wanting to get too close to Chi Shulai. After working for a few years, his intuition told him that Chi Shulai was very mean-spirited, and his two girls, with their dark and yellow faces and spots, kept staring at him and giggling. If they were blackmailed, they would lose their place. He cried, he didn't want to go to Chi Shulai's house. Then come home for dinner another day, Chi Shulai said, sending off the army of cattle. He Tian and Chi Xiaoyan left. After leaving the village branch, Chi Xiaoyan whispered, Brother Daijin, my dad told you not to leave tonight but to go to my house for dinner. My dad has something else to tell you. Niu Daijin looked at the sky. There were mountain roads from here to the county seat, so it was really not suitable to ride a bicycle back. This time I met the leader's father and was persuaded by Chi Xiaoyan to stay. If he didn't go, it would be a bit disrespectful. Okay, I'll stop bothering you tonight, Niu Daijin said cheerfully. He happened to have a bottle of good wine in his bag, which was a benefit from the work unit, so he didn't come to the door empty-handed. He Tian was a little tired after walking around all day today, and now that Niu Daijin was visiting village chief Chi's house, there was no need for her to follow him. Moreover, she was eager to get some back and read the replies from her parents and Huo Yingja. Thank you very much, Comrade Niu. Today, I will thank you again someday, He Tian said. When she sends a letter next time, she will give Niu Daijin a pickled rabbit and pheasant at home as a thank you for Niu Daijin's help. With Niu Daijin's connection, she was not afraid that the letter she received was Chi Jiangguo's handwriting imitated. Chi Jiangguo had some abilities, but he was just playing tricks in the village. When he arrived in the county town, he, Chi Jiangguo, was the elder. Don't be so polite. Just like Xiaoyan, call me Brother Daijin, Niu Daijin said, this girl is quite pitiful. She left her hometown to come here at such a young age. She is also Xiaoyan's friend. He should take more care of her in the future. Naturally, He Tian would not refuse the opportunity to get closer to Niu Daijin. She nodded and said with a smile, thank you, Brother Daijin. Tian, why don't you come to my house for dinner? There were only 3 of us now, and Chi Xiaoyan felt that it would be a bit bad not to call her He Tian. I won't go, He Tian waved her hand, I haven't been home for a day, and I don't know how Grandma Chi is doing. Besides, I just got the letter and can't wait to read it. As you know, I'm special homesick. When Chi Xiaoyan heard what He Tian said, she no longer forced herself. If she were He Tian, she would also be eager to go home and read the letter. Okay, I'll go and play with you tomorrow, Chi Xiaoyan said, don't worry, I have Brother Daijin to help me now. From now on, I can just give you your letters in person. Yeah, He Tian nodded. This was He Tianation's biggest gain today. Chi Xiaoyan took Niu Daijin home, and He Tian turned back to Grandma Chi's house. Grandma Chi-san saw He Tian coming back, with a smile on her face and said, you are back, it's already dark, don't be so late in the future. Girls are not as good as boys. It's too late to stay outside. Good. He Tian got the letter today and handed it to Niu Daijin. She was happy and said crisply, "Grandma Chi, I remember. I will go home after dark and not wander outside. By the way, Grandma Chi, you have had dinner. If you haven't eaten, I'll do it." "I've already eaten. I've left 2 vegetable pancakes and a bowl of porridge for you in the pot. They're still hot. Go and eat quickly," Grandma Chi-san said with a smile. She didn't see this girl during the day, so she was really a little panicked and worried. This girl is out in trouble. After living together for almost a month, Grandma Chi-san fell in love with He Tian more and more. Although she was not as good as her granddaughter, she still had real feelings for him. He Tian served porridge and 8 vegetable pancakes made of cornmeal. Her growling stomach finally calmed down. After clearing the dishes, He Tian went back to the room to read the letter. Seeing the traces of batter on the envelope, He Tian felt disgusted. The 2 letters had indeed been opened and read. She has no direct relationship with Chi Shulai. Judging from the fact that she believes it, it must be Chi Jiangguo. Just like what he heard from the recorder, Chi Jiangguo had the intention to pursue her when he saw her for the first time. It's just that his methods were too despicable and disgusting, and he deceived He Tian for the rest of his life. He Tian must avenge this. But this time I successfully got the letter back, which is a small victory. He Tian took out the scissors, cut open the envelope, and cut off the batter-stained seal. These are He Tian's precious things, and he doesn't want to be contaminated by anything related to Chi Jiangguo. He Tian opened Huo Yingjia's letter first. It was not that Huo Yingjia was more important than her parents, but that He Tian was worried whether the 2 letters had been compromised by Chi Jiangguo. He Tian had an agreement with Huo Yingjia before, but she forgot to make it with her parents. He Tian opened the letter and checked it carefully. The last word in the first paragraph was, the last word in the second paragraph was sweet, and the last word in the third paragraph was drink. Together, Tian drink, changing the position and changing the tone is He Tian. Seeing this, He Tian smiled. This was a letter written by Huo Yingjia. Huo Yingjia said in the letter that the matter of her parents has been suppressed, and she was only suspended for investigation and not criticized. Now the Huo family is trying to find ways to move her parents to a calmer place so that she does not have to worry. The letter also said that he would go to the Weapons Research Institute the day after the letter was sent, and then write a letter to He Tian when he arrived at his workplace and tell her his new address. Finally, he said, let He Tian take good care of himself and take care of himself. When he arrives at the unit and his salary is paid, he will send it to He Tian. Although the parents' reply was cryptic, He Tian understood what her parents meant in the letter. Fortunately, those letters were burned before, and those who came to search the house found nothing. In addition, the in-depth review written by her parents made the inspection team very satisfied. Although I couldn't go to work, I didn't suffer any pain. The letter also said that most of He Tian's things had been mailed over, and some of the things he didn't need were given to others as favors by He Tian. So many things are indeed what she needs now. Many of the clothes there are unused, but they are very clean and can be given away. However, in rural areas, there is also a lot of emphasis on giving things to others. If she is not careful, she will be resented, so she should be careful. The first thing I do when I get home is modify and upload. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 43. But He Tian is not afraid now. With her past life experience, she is already very smooth in dealing with people. She should make good use of these things and create a good environment and conditions for herself. When he came to Kijia village, if He Tian hadn't shown her kindness to Chi-san's grandmother and helped Chi-san's work, He Tian would not have been invited by Chi-san's grandmother to live in a clean and spacious room. If he had not shown his kindness to Secretary Chi at the station at the beginning, well, with the deliberate closeness, Secretary Chi's family would not care about her like this. All efforts, completely opposite to the negative attitude of the previous life, have begun to gradually change. This is a good beginning. Her parents were fine for the time being, and He Tian was slightly relieved. It's August 7th now, and there are still nearly 6 months before I go home for the Chinese New Year. She can't spend money randomly and wait for the Chinese New Year to buy a train ticket to go home. He Tian couldn't calm down for a long time, so she picked up the pen and started to write a letter. Under the dim kerosene lamp, He Tian held the pen and wrote a serious reply, writing about her current situation and what she had seen in the village, so that her parents could know her situation. As for Huo Yingji's letter, He Tian didn't write it. She was waiting for Huo Yingji to write to her when he arrived at his new unit and tell her his new address before replying. Go to Secretary Chi's house early tomorrow morning to find Niu Daijin and ask him to take the letter back to the county seat. Her parents at home miss each other very much, just like her. The earlier she can send a letter, the earlier she can bring comfort to her parents. Early the next morning, He Tian handed the letter to Niu Daijin and said, I have already affixed the stamps. Brother Daijin, please help me take it to the county seat and mail it. Okay, Niu Daijin said, if you come to a nearby village in the future, I will come to Secretary Chi and ask Xiao Yan to call you. If you have a letter, send it to me so that you don't have to go all the way to the county seat in the future. Run. Niu Daijin said enthusiastically that he would come here often in the future and help He Tian. By the way, why not? Thank you so much, Brother Daijin. He Tian thanked him. Today at Village Chief Chi's house, He Tian couldn't give Niu Daijin pickled rabbit meat. He would wait until Niu Daijin delivers the package to her, and then deliver it privately. After delivering the letter, He Tian went back to have breakfast with Grandma Chi-san, and then went to work in the animal husbandry team. Now that Grandma Chi-san's legs are healed, she can go to and from work on her own without the need for He Tian to pick her up. He Tian, who had won a small victory, felt happy and hummed a tune while walking. It turns out that change is not difficult, it just depends on whether you can use the environment around you to change your situation. In her previous life, she was a tortoise. She hid in her shell when things happened, escaping from fear and distress, and waiting for God's arrangements. In this life, He Tian will not be like that anymore. She will always be a brave and strong hin, no matter how big the storm is. They will not give in, welcome the baptism of the storm, and gain a new life. When they arrived at the animal husbandry team, He Tian discovered that there were several thatched houses around Grandpa Chi's house. They were not there the day before yesterday, so it can be seen that they were built yesterday. Such a house should be for people to live in, not for animals. Just when He Tian was confused, an old man came out of the thatched house. This old man, He Tian knew Professor Gu. In his previous life, Professor Gu gave tutoring lessons to many people. He understood Chinese, mathematics, English, Russian, physics, and chemistry. When Professor Gu saw such a little girl like He Tian, he smiled as if to please and was cautious. Seeing them like this, He Tian felt sour in her heart. Such a knowledgeable person should have been wearing clean and decent clothes and giving gentle lectures on the podium, instead of wearing rags, struggling hard, and living so humbly in this chaos. Hello, He Tian greeted with a smile. Anyway, there were no outsiders here, and she wasn't afraid of being reported for talking to these inmates. Professor Gu was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, hello. Please take good care of me in the future. I am a young urban man from Nanji. He Tian introduced herself. In her previous life, she was admitted to university with the help of Professor Gu. Qi Fangfang also passed the exam at that time. The Qi family said on the surface that their family had difficulties. In fact, I don't actually want He Tian to go to college. She was just a fool at that time, a huge white lotus flower of the Virgin, so white that she even had the urge to slap herself a few times. People said that, so she was willing to sacrifice to let Chi Fang Fang go to school, but she didn't go. At that time, Professor Gu came to persuade her, but he Tian Tian valued the so-called family and did not agree, which disappointed Professor Gu. Upon hearing that he Tian Tian was an educated youth from Nanxi, Professor Gu showed a frightened expression on his face, and turned around and entered the thatched house in a panic. The reason why Professor Gu took the initiative to talk to the locals was actually to build a good relationship and change the situation. But he was feared outside, especially those who were his students before, pointing at his nose and accusing him of crimes that did not exist at all. Those were all students of his teachings. Professor Gu, who had been teaching and educating people all his life, could never accept such a thing. This He Tian Tian is also from Nanxi. If he is evil-minded or has ulterior motives, write a letter to Nanxi to expose them. So even if they come to such a remote place, they can't live a stable life. Seeing Professor Gu like this, He Tian Tian felt even sadder. He Tian Tian lowered her head, greeted Aunt Lu, and went up the mountain to cut grass with a bamboo basket on her back. Now in order to store fodder for winter, we have to go back and forth 3 times in the morning, which is very heavy work. Horsepower can be seen from afar, and people's hearts can be seen from time to time. What these old people need now is a peaceful life and food. He Tian Tian doesn't have extra food, but she can take advantage of the opportunity to go up the mountain to dig more wild vegetables and pick more wild fruits, give some to them, and help little by little them. Under the reinforcement of the Snake King, He Tian's slender body was filled with strength, speed, and flexibility, all of which were greatly increased. Now He Tian believes that what the Snake King said is true. Although the Snake King drank her blood, she also got great benefits from the Snake King. A tenacious will, a strong body, and a calm and agile mind, these 3 are the foundation for He Tian to open up a new life in the future. Although the Snake King has a bad temper and disgusting appearance, everything she has now is given by the Snake King, and He Tian is grateful. If you can change the fate of your parents, and change the fate of yourself and Huo Yingjia, it doesn't matter even if the Snake King treats him as his blood bank for the rest of his life. The most practical thing is the self-comforting words, that is, my aunt came to visit twice a month. Although these words are a bit scary, that's what He Tian thinks. When he came back carrying a large bamboo basket of grass for the 3rd time, He Tian carried a basket in his hand. It was filled with wild vegetables that could be dug down the mountain. There were also some wild jujube fruits underneath. He Tian spread the grass outside to dry in the sun. After finishing the work, he placed the wild vegetables and fruits at Professor Gu's door. The background was messed up and the document couldn't be pasted. It took me half an hour. Depressed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 44. Professor Gu came out of the room and was very surprised when he saw the basket at the door. This was what the girl just put down. Did that girl really want to help them? He no longer trusts people's hearts. Why don't you leave and are blocking the door, Professor Wang, Professor Gu's wife, urged from behind. It was already noon. They hurriedly made something to eat. They were going to be criticized in the afternoon. How can your body bear it if you don't eat enough? Although he has endured so much suffering, Professor Wang still wants to live, return to his previous job with dignity, and leave this world with dignity, rather than die a cowardly death. Professor Gu picked up the basket and whispered, "Look, someone put this basket of grass at our door. Does it mean that we should go cut the grass?" Professor Wang also frowned and couldn't figure out what was going on. Haha, old man Chi, who had just finished eating, laughed, "That's not grass, that's wild vegetables." Sweet girl went up the mountain to cut the grass and found it for you. After all, there were so many people here at once, even though you gotta share some food is not enough to eat. I have to dig wild vegetables to supplement it. I have a vegetable garden over there. If you are short of food, you can pick it yourself. Professor Gu thought of the little girl with fair skin and big eyes that morning. Sweet girl is he Tian Tian. If it was really that girl, he was right. Hey, he hid in a hurry in the morning, and now I feel embarrassed just thinking about it. Hey, actually I can't blame him, he was really scared by those people. That girl is really thoughtful, Professor Gu said with emotion. Since he was criticized, he has not thought about getting help from others here. Professor Wang took the basket and said with a smile, Brother Chi, please introduce that sweet girl to me later. It's rare for her to be so caring to us. I want to thank He Tian Tian in person. Okay. You go and cook quickly. You can use the things in my pothouse as you like, Old Man Chi said generously. We will take your time to buy things after you have settled down. Professor Gu rubbed his hands and said dryly, Thank you so much, Brother Chi. You're welcome, Old Man Chi said. This place is 2 miles away from the village. In addition to working in the future, you will rarely go to the village. No one will make things difficult for you. We are remote here, and we just want to leave for those messy things. Just go through the motions. If you act pitiful, no one in the village will deliberately embarrass you. Hey, Professor Gu nodded, slightly relieved. Last night, Village Chief Chi sent half a bag of polenta, and Professor Wang boiled a thick corn polenta, added wild vegetables to it, added some salt, and made a vegetable polenta. Here Professor Gu and Professor Wang are in good health and can take care of themselves. But the bodies in the room could only lie down, and one of them seemed to have a broken leg. Secretary Chi was considered a good person and stayed the course. He asked Wang Shuilian to come over, straighten the bones, wrap splints, and prescribe some medicine. Secretary Chi had taken these medicines first, and they would be deducted from these people's work points later. Everyone ate the corn mush, which put something in their stomachs and regained some strength. Professor Wang found 2 handfuls of wild dates in the basket, secretly hid them, and took them out to share with everyone at night. Their bodies are in pain, their hearts are sour, their mouths are bitter, and they no longer remember what sweetness tastes like. He Tian Tian had lunch and rested at home for a while before coming to the livestock team at the foot of the mountain. Professor Gu saw He Tian Tian and said with a little embarrassment, I misunderstood you this morning. Thank you for the wild vegetables and dates you sent me at noon. He Tian Tian smiled and said nonchalantly, It's okay, I'm just doing it. If you want it, I'll cut some off for you. Yes, is it too much trouble? Professor Gu rubbed his hands with a nervous look on his face. He wanted wild vegetables. With the wild vegetables and the food provided by the village, they basically didn't have to go hungry. No trouble, He Tian Tian said. She knew that Professor Gu was afraid of being criticized, and understood why Professor Gu was still so cautious. Seeing you, my family reminds me of my grandfather, who was also a professor in Nanjing. The 2 families can be considered close family friends. After the death of Grandpa, the relationship became even weaker. However, meeting people you know again in an unfamiliar place is extremely precious. Ah, Professor Gu was stunned and asked quickly, Who is your grandfather? He Tianatian's grandfather passed away when she was 8 years old, but He Tian Tian could already remember things at that time and remembered that her grandfather loved her very much. My grandfather He Jinming taught astronomy at Nanjing University, He Tian Tian said proudly but disappointedly, but he has been dead for 7 years. Professor Gu was stunned, looked at He Tian Tian carefully, and quickly turned around and called his wife in the room, Yungzi, come here, this is the granddaughter of the old He family. Wang Yungzi, Professor Wang, Professor Gu's wife, teaches mathematics at NTU and also teaches some elective courses. Which old He is this? Professor Wang came out of the room, frowned slightly, and looked at He Tian. That's Lao He from the Department of Astronomy, your fellow alumnus in the United States, Professor Gu said. Look, does this girl look like her grandma Bai Qianjiao? Professor Wang was stunned for a moment, looked at He Tian carefully, nodded and said, it really looks like. Is she really senior brother He's granddaughter? My grandfather He Jinming, my grandmother Bai Qianjiao, my father He Jingyu, and my mother Wang Shuping He Tian said, my family lives at number 23 Daolm Lane. My grandfather bought it? If you know my grandfather, I guess you also know my home address. Professor Wang said happily, she is really brother He's granddaughter. You are so young, why did you come to the countryside? My father heard that anyone with overseas connections would be investigated, and the impact would be severe, so he put me on the train to the countryside and came here to hide, He Tian said, answering truthfully, the same is the end of the world, people cherish each other. After hearing this, Professor Gu nodded and said, your father did the right thing. Those who left late suffered along with the adults. By the way, are your parents okay now? The letter I received 2 days ago, He Tian replied truthfully, they have taken the initiative to write a self-criticism and accepted inspections and searches. Nothing was found in the house, so they have not been affected too much for the time being. That's good, Professor Gu looked sad. Professor Wang no longer had the previous precautions and said, Tian, your parents are smart people who are willing to give up their possessions and will definitely be able to get through the difficulties. The difficulties outside are nothing to them. As long as you take good care of yourself, only then can they feel at ease. I know, He Tian said crisply, so I am here, working hard, making friends, and have adapted to the life here. When the matter is over, our family can be reunited. Thank you all for your tips, recommendation votes, and collections. The reason why I don't add an update is because I want to wait for an update on November 1st. Trust me, I will try to update. 3. Epsilon. My grandmother's name was wrong and it appeared many times later, so I changed my grandmother's name the first time it appeared. Thank you for your attentive readers, okay. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 45. Professor Gu and Professor Wang looked at each other and smiled. This child's temperament is also like that of senior brother He. At this moment, Chi Ergu drove the bullock cart over. Seeing He Tian, he smiled and said, sweet girl, are you tired from mowing the grass? You're not tired, second brother Chi, He Tian said, I can do it. Second brother Chi, what are you driving the bullock cart here for? This is a job that Chi Ergu's mother, Zhao Dejiao, personally arranged for her. Even if it is tiring, it cannot be said to be tiring. Besides, compared to others, this job is not too heavy for He Tian. Because he can often go up to the mountain, He Tian can pick delicious food on the mountain. If he is lucky and the snake on his ankle is in a good mood, he can also catch some meat for He Tian. He is free and happy. It's exactly the kind of life she likes. That's good, Chi Ergu smiled, the village party secretary has already organized it, let me get these people to criticize. Professor Gu, Professor Wang, and the 5 people in the room trembled and turned pale when they heard that they were going to be criticized. Brother Chi, they are elderly people. He Tian knew that she was insignificant and that Chi Ergu was kind to her. She couldn't blame them and plead directly for these people. She could only say something insinuating. Sweet girl, go to work, we know about this, Chi Ergu said, don't be afraid, it's just a formality. After Chi Ergu finished speaking, he went to the house, picked up an old man lying on the hay, and put him on the bullock cart. He had no intention of embarrassing these people. These people could finally feel relieved when they saw Chi Ergu carrying people to the bullock cart instead of letting them climb over or walk over with lame legs. In her previous life, He Tian Tian knew that village chief Chi was kind to the people who were sent down to the countryside. Although there were no benefits in the past few years, the benefits started to show after 7 or 8 years. Except for Chi Xiaoyan, who committed suicide because of the thought, village chief Chi's eldest son was the first to become rich in the village, and his second son was promoted step by step in the work unit, and finally reached a very high position. As for Li Mingkai, the culprit who forced Chi Xiaoyan to commit suicide, his end was miserable. Although he did not die, he was half paralyzed by a machine while working. Chi Ergu is not very smart, but his one advantage is that he is obedient. When village chief Chi was in power, he followed village chief Chi. When village chief Chi became the elder, he followed village chief Chi's eldest son. For this reason, village chief Chi and his family did not treat Chi Ergu badly, and Chi Ergu's family became the second richest man in the village. Chi Ergu took the person away. He Tian Tian originally wanted to go and have a look, but thinking about it, she had already seen it in her previous life, so she didn't need to see it in this life. Knowing that they were fine and didn't need her help, she might as well go to the mountains to cut the grass. Get some more wild vegetables. It would be great if you can catch pheasants. You can stew soup to replenish them. He Tian Tian carried the bamboo basket and walked up the mountain. The task in the afternoon was also very heavy, with 3 trips back and forth to cut 3 large baskets. 2 baskets have been completed and this is the 3rd basket. He Tian Tian dug a basket of wild vegetables and heard the sound of running water. He Tian Tian went to a small stream. The water was clear. He washed his face, sat on a clean stone, opened his trousers, and scratched the little silver snake. Rub, rub, scratch. What do you want to do? The Snake King had already gotten off He Tianatian's ankle, jumped into the stream, and poked his head out of it. The speed was so fast that He Tian Tian didn't even see clearly. How did the little silver snake get down? It's nothing, I just want to eat meat. Can you help me catch 2 chickens? He Tian Tian said. She didn't have the ability to catch them herself, so she had to ask for help from the little silver snake. You're so stupid, the Snake King said angrily. With him improving his body and catching 2 pheasants, it was not an easy task. He Tian Tian giggled, the Snake King is awesome. That's natural, the Snake King said proudly as he swam in the water, raising his head. He Tian Tian was speechless, but now was the time to beg the Snake King, so it was better to be humble. Furthermore, although the Snake King is arrogant, he still helps her every time. When the little silver snake had enough fun, it climbed out of the water and crawled forward in an S shape on the ground. He Tian Tian chased behind, 1 person and 1 snake, very fast, and after a while, they came to a dense grass. Why don't you leave? He Tian Tian asked. Apart from the grass, there were no pheasants in front of him. The Snake King glared at He Tian Tian when he saw He Tian Tian making a sound, but He Tian Tian didn't dare to say anything. The surroundings were very quiet, but within half a minute, a few pheasants walked out of the grass. He Tian Tian was overjoyed, but she found that these pheasants seemed to be drunk, dizzy, and unconscious. You haven't done anything yet, little silver snake gritted his teeth and said, he's so stupid, he's so stupid. Hey, He Tian Tian responded stupidly, bent down, and broke one of the pheasant's necks with one hand, then went to grab the other 2, and quickly broke the pheasant's neck again. The Snake King looked at He Tianatian's quick movements without any hesitation. He pondered for a moment and said, I usually see you as timid, but you are not afraid at all of killing these pheasants. He Tian Tian picked up the pheasant, sighed, and said with a wry smile, what cruelty, what fear, it is nothing compared with hunger. In my previous life, I opened a braised meat shop, and I had to kill many chickens and ducks a day. If I kill one if I were afraid of crying, I would have died of poverty long ago. Humph! King Snake saw He Tian Tian speaking so righteously and said angrily, you are so capable, how come you still live in such a miserable state? After hearing this, He Tian Tian felt sour in her heart. This Snake King knew how to tell the truth, and said, no matter how diligent you are, what's the use? Your eyes are blind, your heart is empty, and you are just a shell living in confusion. When the Snake King saw He Tian Tian, who was in high spirits just now, suddenly became listless, he knew that He Tian Tian had not had a good life in his previous life. Although he had no intention of hurting He Tian Tian, he was still a little embarrassed. He Tian Tian put the pheasant in the basket, which was covered with a lot of grass and stuffed full, making it heavier than usual. The Snake King knew that He Tian Tian was in a low mood, with his head lowered, thin shoulders slumped, and lack of energy. It could not continue to laugh at He Tian Tian, so it obediently ran to He Tian Tian to rest on his ankles. He Tian Tian carried her things down the mountain, tears streaming down her face. Since her rebirth, she has always encouraged herself to be strong, but the events in her previous life would still affect her mood from time to time. Although it was a bit pretentious, she couldn't help it. Walking dully, walking out of the shadow of the mountain, we were greeted by the brilliant rays of light, which illuminated He Tian's dark heart. He Tian raised her head and looked at the endless sunset. Having the opportunity to start all over again is extremely precious. What reason does she have to be sad about those ridiculous pasts in her previous life? The sadder she is now, the more she failed in the past. Seize the present and look to the future. Her life is destined to be different from her previous life, so she must create with her own hands and efforts instead of useless tears. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 46. After He Tian thought about it, she felt happy and had a smile on her face, full of strength and confidence. She believes in her ability to change her own life and the lives of those around her. At the same time, He Tian remembered how the Snake King had just seen her pitiful and lost look, and it was rare that he did not ridicule her. From this point of view, the Snake King seems to have some understanding of human nature, and is not a ruthless or cold person. Oh, no, he must not be a cold snake. In this case, He Tian has a plan in mind. She must make good use of this in the future and let the Snake King do more things for her. To make sure you have a full stomach, you have to think about the mental aspect. But this is a future plan, let's not mention it for now. It can be seen from He Tian's behavior that he is always pushing his limits. The Snake King sneezed in the barrier, thinking that he was weak, but he didn't know that he had been noticed by a stupid rabbit, and he was thinking about how to make good use of it. Although the mountain road is difficult to walk, these difficulties are not a problem for He Tian now. She is so satisfied with her body. Not only does she look good, she is more beautiful than before, but more importantly, she is healthier than before. Toned and powerful. After adjusting his mood, He Tian quickly arrived at the foot of the mountain. Old Man Chi was watching from the animal husbandry team, fanning himself with a cattail leaf fan, watching He Tian bustling about. Old Man Chi is an old man who knows how to enjoy himself. At his age, he only has a few more years to live, so now he doesn't do these things if he can. Anyway, he did enough when he was young, and he doesn't need old age. When the time comes, try your best to make a contribution. After He Tian cleaned the cowshed, pig pen, and sheep pen, he went to clean up the 4 pheasants. Sweet girl, you are very lucky today. Did you catch pheasant again? Old Man Chi put down the cattail leaf fan and walked to He Tian and said in surprise. Several huge pheasants were very fat. Whether they were braised or stewed, they were all delicious. Tasty. Since He Tian came here, Old Man Chi has had a lot of success. Yeah, a few more traps were laid. He Tian said, I'll make chicken soup for everyone later. Grandpa Chi, you boil the hot water first. He Tian took out the chicken blood, put it in a bowl, put some salt in it, and solidified it into chicken blood, which could be used for stew at night. Hey, old man, Chi responded readily. In these days, his stomach is short of oil and water, and he has food to eat, which is very valuable. Old man Chi can't do delicate work, but he can do such simple work as boiling water. After a while, old man Chi boiled a large pot of hot water and poured it into a large porcelain basin. The hot water was scalding it. When the water became slightly colder, He Tian began to pluck the hair quickly. He Tian did this job neatly. She did this in her previous life and was very professional. In order to save some money, in her previous life, she directly wholesaled live chickens and plucked and cleaned them herself. Not only to save money, but also to keep the taste better. The taste of frozen chicken purchased directly is much different. He Tian pickled 2 of them and left them for frying tomorrow. The remaining 2 were stewed in chicken soup today. Chop 2 large pheasants into a pot, which is almost full. First put them in hot water and blanch them to remove the blood and oily foam on them. Refresh the pot and add water. When the water is half boiled, pour the chicken in, add 7 or 8 slices of ginger, and then add a few green onions. Bring to a boil over high heat and cook for a few minutes, then reduce to low heat and simmer. The room was hot, so He Tian put enough firewood at the bottom of the pot to boil slowly, and then came out of the pothouse to cool down. Sweet girl, you made so much, I can't finish the drink. Old man Chi couldn't finish the drink and wanted to share it with others. There are many people here, and there seems to be a special old man among them. From the determined eyes of that man, it can be seen that his previous position was not small. Grandpa Chi, let me tell you a secret. Don't tell anyone else, not even Aunt Lu, He Tian said softly. In the future, when she interacts with Professor Gu and Professor Wang, she will inevitably be unable to avoid old man Chi, so she decided explain the relationship to old man Chi. Tell me, brother. Chi saw that He Tian was mysterious and wanted to hear it. Professor Gu and Professor Wang used to be colleagues with my grandfather. Although our 2 families didn't have much contact, they still knew each other. In fact, they were both professors and teachers in the university. Professor Wang studied abroad before liberation and was those who find this reason to criticize are actually working hard and are not evil people. They are old and I am very agile, so I will help them if I can, He Tian whispered. We can do this in private to avoid being caught and making a fuss out of a molehill. The prerequisite for helping others is not to involve yourself. He Tian thinks so. After hearing this, old man Chi sighed deeply and said, hey. It's all nonsense. Forget it, we ordinary people can't change the things decided by the above. In this case, I will take good care of them. Dazu, it's also intentional. Yesterday, someone built a thatched house for them, which is far away from the village and cleaner. Yes, village chief Chi is a good person, and Grandpa Chi is also a good person. He Tian smiled and said, as long as he is not the kind of person who kills, sets fire, commits crimes, as an old man, I will respect him. I can hunt, and I will often do it in the future. Get meat to nourish your body with them. Okay, I got the advantage, old man Chi chuckled. This girl is a kind-hearted child who knows how to respect the elderly. Children are good in nature. Just as he was talking, Chi Ergu drove the bullock cart over. Professor Gu and Professor Wang walked to the back. Except for some straw and soil on their bodies, they did not suffer much damage. He Tian looked at it and finally felt relieved. Chi Ergu moved the cattle to the cowshed, put the cattle cart in the shed, and took the people to the house. Chi Ergu was also very tired today, so he said hello to He Tian and hurried back. I was constipated today and sat on the toilet for half an hour, feeling depressed. This is the sequelae of sitting and typing all day. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 47. It's not time to get off work yet, and He Tian will continue to stay here for a while. The meeting was over, but Aunt Lu didn't come back. According to Aunt Liu's temperament, she usually wouldn't come to the animal husbandry team again, and would go home directly when it was time to get off work. Anyway, the livestock team has a very sweet old man Chi, so nothing will happen to him. He Tian asked for leave yesterday, and Aunt Lu was busy with the work, so He Tian should do more today. Aunt Lu would not come at the right time, and she would not have to explain the origin of the pheasants, nor would she need to share them with Aunt Lu. Professor Gu and Professor Wang sat dejectedly on the hay in the thatched house, feeling deeply sad. Every conference is a trampling on their dignity. Fortunately, I was lucky that I wasn't injured this time. He Tian took the basin and put 2 basins of water at the door for them to wash up. However, their sadness did not last long, and their stomachs did not stop being hungry because of sadness. They still growled, especially when they smelled the rich smell of chicken soup. People are like iron, food is like steel, a meal is not enough to make you panic. This is reflected more profoundly at this moment. Okay, don't be sad, everyone. Compared with in the city, these things are much lighter. Don't be ignorant of your blessings. Old man Bai's voice was not loud, but he was extremely determined and his eyes were sharp. The 2 old men beside him were younger than the old man Bai who spoke just now. They were also physically injured, but they were in better condition than the old man who spoke. Yes, the 2 of them couldn't help, and the 2 old people still defended them, so that their injuries became more serious. Don't be polite here. The old man waved his hand and said with a wry smile, I want to live well, and you must live well too. Yes, the man replied habitually. Call me Lao Bai, the old man said, people talk a lot, so let's change the name. Yes, the 2 agreed. These 2 people were old man Bai's men. They were old man Bai's confidants, but they did not treat old man Bai like others. Because of this, the people in the investigation team did not find conclusive evidence, only some trivial things. Something happened to old man Bai, and these 2 people didn't escape. Fortunately, they came here and could keep each other company. To outsiders, this seems like a coincidence. But in old man Bai's heart, he had a vague guess that someone from above was helping him. It's just that at this time, some people are not suitable to come forward. Although it is not certain who it is, there are already speculations. What he has to do is to live well and see how long those people who do evil and make trouble can last. In the thatched house next door, there is a tall and thin old man named Chienchikan. He was a cigarette seller in Zhejiang province before liberation. He works both black and white. He has several concubines at home. During the War of Liberation, I couldn't get on the boat to Xiangjiang, so I had to stay in China. Those sons and concubines all abandoned him in order to get rid of their relationship with him. He had been in prison for 10 years. He had just been released, and before he had time to take a breath, he came to this place where nothing matters. This Jianchikan was a tough guy before liberation, with a strong character and good health, so even though he was tortured, he is still in good spirits now. The reason why he lay there unwilling to move was to gain sympathy. There is another short old man named Sun Sihao. Before the liberation, his family was the largest foreign company in Nan City. He sold fine silk, tea, and porcelain to foreign countries. He also did some reselling of antiques privately, and then sold foreign items to domestically. He can be considered a businessman. The last ones in the thatched house were Professor Gu, Professor Wang, and his wife. He Tian cut up the sauerkraut that the old man had pickled, mixed it with chicken blood and stir-fried it, and made soft pancakes. For a while, the aroma in the pothouse was fragrant. Sweet girl, are you ready? Old man Chi, who was outside, urged, smelling the fragrance and not being able to eat. It felt really uncomfortable in his stomach. It will be ready soon. He Tian smiled and said, Go call some grandparents, wash your hands quickly, get up and have something to eat. Okay, old man Chi laughed heartily and hurried to call for someone. Have you rested yet? After resting, come out to eat. People are iron and rice is steel. If you don't eat one meal, you will be hungry. Youngzi, let's go out to have something to eat. Professor Gu was a free and easy person, and he quickly adjusted himself, and said to the old wife who was not tired next to him. Professor Wang also knew that it was better here than in the city. You could eat without having to do anything. There was no such treatment in other places. Moreover, with your husband by your side, you could persevere in any hardship. He wiped his tears and said, I just saw sweet girl is busy, and we remember this intention. A little girl can live well in a strange environment, and so can we two old men and women who have experienced so many ups and downs. You are right, Professor Gu chuckled. Being content with the situation is also a state of mind. When the couple came out, they happened to see a basin of water at the door. The 5 people in the other 2 rooms helped each other out of the thatched house. They also saw the clear water at the door, and suddenly felt that their hearts were not completely filled with hatred. They rinsed their mouths and faces, and they became clean and upright people again. With so many people here at once, old man Chi didn't have enough bowls and chopsticks. Fortunately, Secretary Chi sent some old bowls and chopsticks yesterday. Although it is old, He Tian has washed it cleanly. There was no room in the room, so He Tian moved old man Chi's table out and started working back and forth with a smile on his face. Professor Gu, Professor Wang, and several other grandpas, please sit down and I will serve you soup. He Tian made arrangements and turned around to enter the room. Old man Chi helped serve the dishes with one hand. Professor Wang saw that He Tian was busy alone, so he came over to help. When he saw a large pot of chicken soup, he was stunned and said, "Where did this come from?" Professor Wang, I caught it on the mountain. You are weak and must take supplements, He Tian said while serving soup. Professor Wang was moved. Hey, this kid has such a kind heart and is also good at cooking. The chicken soup was served outside. When the others saw that it was chicken soup, they were also stunned and did not dare to eat it. Eat quickly. Fortunately, we are at the foot of the mountain. We can often hunt pheasants. Moreover, there are few people here, so people in the village don't know about it. Old man Chi said, there is still more in the pot. You drink it quickly, sweet girl, you drink some too. Hey, He Tian filled a small earthen jar and closed the lid. She would take it back to Grandma Chi-san to drink later. After hearing this, old man Bai chuckled and said, this is the intention of brother Chi and that little girl. We are not pretentious. Everyone, drink quickly. Only when you are full can you have strength and recover your health. This way you will not drag others down. That's right, Xiang Rong and Zhou agreed. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 48. Qianchikan was a bastard, and he was even more rude. The world was huge and he had the biggest meal. Sun Sihao is not very old, in his 40s, but he has been tortured so much that he looks like he is in his 50s or 60s. His body is very weak and he won't survive long in this remote place if he doesn't eat. He doesn't want to die, he wants to live and see his wife and children. A large pot of chicken soup, together with chicken nuggets, was eaten cleanly by He Tian, old man Chi and others. Fortunately, there were still cakes and vegetables, so I was basically full. He Tian collected the bones, threw them to old man Chi's dog, washed the pots and dishes, cleaned them up, then packed up and left. After several people had eaten, they felt grateful to He Tian and wanted to say thank you, but found that He Tian had already left. They were very tired and had no time to chat. They went back to the house and slept soundly, not caring about the mosquito bites. After they had eaten, they just wanted to sleep peacefully and make up for the sleep they had missed these days. He Tian put the earthen pot in the basket and covered it with wild vegetables. Grandma Chi-san was cooking. When she saw He Tian coming back, she smiled and said, "I came back a little late today. I saw that your Aunt Lu was back a long time ago. I asked for leave yesterday, so I will work more today." He Tian smiled and took out the earthen pot from the basket. "Grandma Chi, I caught pheasants again today and made chicken soup from the animal husbandry team. I brought some return. Oh, this is good stuff. You can drink it yourself." Although Grandma Chi-san said this, she was very happy in her heart. The old woman was all alone, but she didn't expect that she would still have someone to show her respect to her in her old age. He Tian heated up the chicken soup, brought it to Grandma Chi-san, and said, "Grandma Chi, drink it? I've already had it at Grandpa Chi's place." He Tian asked Grandma Chi-san to make chicken soup while she cooked. "With the chicken soup in my stomach, I made less dinner. Half a bowl of polenta soup and a plate of cold wild vegetables were enough for each person." After dinner, He Tian and Grandma Chi-san were enjoying the cool weather in the yard. The wind at night is already very cool, and autumn will begin in 2 days. "Tian, how are those elderly people doing?" Grandma Chi-san asked. Some of those people were about the same age as her, and it was really pitiful that they still had to suffer this. The outside world may not be as good as Kijia village. He Tian sighed, "She seems to be in good spirits, I should be able to get through it." "People, there is no such thing as the flame mountain that we can't get through." Grandma Chi-san said, "When I was young, my family was well off. When the local tycoons came to divide the land, all the land in my family was divided, and the situation of the family plummeted. My sisters, cry. I didn't cry, but I married a former long-term worker in the family, while they went to the city and became concubines for rich officials. Although I lived a hard life, I had a husband. I have a family and children, and I am living a good life. My husband is dead and my son has not been heard from in these years. I still hold my breath. I want to live well, maybe my son will come back." He Tianation's mood improved greatly as she listened to Grandma Chi-san's simple words full of strength and courage. "As long as you live, you must hope." Grandma Chi-san has been like this all her life, so in the end she waited until her son came back from abroad, spent his old age in peace, and had a family full of children and grandchildren. "Yes, my parents told me the same thing when I left home. As long as we survive this period, we will have the opportunity to live happily together in the future," He Tian said, "so no matter how hard it is, we will be tired, I can bear it." "Haha," Grandma Chi-san smiled heartily, "you girl, look like me." "Haha," He Tian said, "I would be happy to be as capable and strong as you." When He Tian rested at night, she was still muttering in her heart. This life is different from the previous life. Although village chief Chi also brought back 7 people in his previous life, 2 old men died when they arrived in the village. The 7 people now and the 7 people in the previous life, except for Professor Gu and Professor Wang, have not changed, the others are all different from the previous life. Although He Tian couldn't guess who these people were, it was obvious that there were 3 groups of people. Professor Gu and Professor Wang are husband and wife, the old man Bai is in a group with the 2 people next to him, and the other 2 thin guys, one tall and one short, are in a group. It seems that everyone in the group knows each other personally. He Tian vaguely felt that after she changed some things in her previous life, things around her also changed. Although it doesn't have much impact on her yet, He Tian is alert. She can change her situation, and there are many smart people, and they will change accordingly. He Tian carefully sorted out every person who had anything to do with her in her mind, not missing a single detail. "It wasn't until late at night that I fell asleep." Early the next morning, He Tian and Grandma Chi-san had dinner and then went to the animal husbandry team. After He Tian was busy helping everyone last night, and everyone learned that He Tian Tian brought those pheasants from the mountain. They had a better impression of He Tian Tian. Professor Wang. Good morning, He Tian Tian greeted, with a smile on her face, as vibrant as the sun at 8 or 9 o'clock. Professor Wang is cooking, and Professor Gu is helping over there. Others are also busy, helping to pick vegetables. Seeing He Tian Tian coming over, Professor Wang smiled and said, "Sweet girl, I don't teach anymore, I'm not a professor anymore. From now on, you can just call us Grandma Wang and Grandpa Gu." Grandma Wang, good morning, Grandpa Gu, He Tian Tian said, how are you having a good night's rest? We have eaten well and slept soundly, so everyone looks good today. Grandma Wang said, I will go up to the mountain with you to cut grass today. We will work more and make some contributions to the village. At this time, Aunt Lu came and said with a smile, Aunt Wang, you are not in good health, so you should stay here. Later, you can clean the cowshed, pig pen, and sheep pen, and feed some fodder. Sweet girl and I go up the hill and mow the grass. From Aunt Liu's tone, it can be heard that she has a good relationship with Professor Wang. Okay, Professor Wang said, I'll work hard on you first, and when we take a break, we'll just work and we won't let you suffer. What's the point of taking a loss or not? This is the job of the livestock team, Aunt Lu said as she carried a bamboo basket on her back and went up the mountain with He Tian Tian. On the way, Aunt Lu whispered to He Tian Tian, sweet girl, the autumn harvest is coming soon. The two of us have a very important task. We must prepare the fodder before harvesting the corn. There is a fixed amount of corn stalks, which can be kept by the livestock team and given to the villagers to cook in pots. Most of the forage still has to be obtained from the mountains. Okay. Let's move quickly and try to make 4 trips in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, He Tian Tian said. If you prepare forage before harvesting corn, you can get an advanced position and maybe get a reward at the end of the year. It might be an enamel tub, a towel, or a piece of soap. Although it is not much, it does not cost money after all, and it is very honorable to be rated as advanced. Asterisk carrot. Carrot asterisk, he, updated. It will be released on November 1st, and there will be 8,000 updates to ask for support. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 49. Chapter 49, Chapter 48, 49 Protection. He Tian Tian is diligent, but Aunt Lu is much more cheerful and very happy. Aunt Lu was overjoyed and said, then we have to work harder today. We will finish our work early and rest early. The two of them reached the halfway point of the mountain, found the place where they would mow the grass today, and began to work. This time, instead of cutting one basket and sending it down the mountain, a lot of it was cut at once, and then spread on the ground to dry. It can be half dry in a morning. In this case, the same weight and volume can hold more grass. The 4 baskets in the morning were more than the 5 baskets before, which was very efficient. After being transported to the foot of the mountain, they can be stacked together as long as they are dried in the sun. After the autumn harvest is completed, they are cut into small sections, put in sacks, and put in the house to make fodder for livestock through the winter. The green grass lying outside the livestock team was dried in the sun with the help of Professor Gu, Professor Wang, and others. They turned over it diligently and dried it faster. Aunt Lu was naturally very happy that these people helped with the work, and she spoke kindly to them. After a few days of recuperation, except for old man Bai, who had a broken leg and still needed to recuperate for a while, everyone else was able to move around and work. In addition, they could barely eat enough every day and occasionally drank chicken soup, so the 7 people recovered quickly. Among them, Zoli and Xiangrong recovered the fastest. Even without the instructions of village chief Chi, they had already taken the basket and went up the mountain to cut grass with Aunt He Tian Tian and Lu. Qianchikan and Sun Sihao were not very strong and could only cut grass but could not carry them on their backs. Finally, before the busy autumn harvest, the livestock team exceeded the task. Village Chief Chi brought food from the commune to the young people in the city and these people, and distributed it all to these people without deducting a grain. Village Chief Chi came here in person and delivered food and some daily necessities, pots and pans. Old people, please settle down for a while. After the farm work is over, I will take you to the back mountain to cut some trees and set up beds so that you can live comfortably and warmly when the weather gets cold. Chi Kun Chang Deo, these people take the initiative to work, he should also treat these people better. Zoli said with a smile, thank you very much, Village Chief Chi. The farming will be busy soon. Except for Brother Bai, who has a broken bone and cannot work, everyone else can work. We are always ready to listen to Village Chief Chi's instructions. Village Chief Chi waved his hand and said, instructions are out of the question. The commune has said that after the farm work is over, you will each write a report on the countryside, and the village will write comments based on your performance and send it to you. As long as everyone can be like this, don't talk too much and work more, and the village won't make things difficult for you. Xiang Rong rubbed his hands and said, thank you very much, Village Chief Chi, for taking care of me. We will definitely work hard. Compared with those people in the city, working hard is nothing. Well, people from the commune were originally going to come to inspect the work, but the farming has been busy recently, so this week's village meeting has been cancelled, and the previous arrangements will be replaced by labor. Village Chief Chi said, doing those things all day can produce food. He very much agrees with the above approach, take back the food, and then think about other things if you are not hungry. Upon hearing this, several people frowned. They would rather work than be like before. Promise to work hard, Xiang Rong said, with his body straight and his heels together, just short of saluting. Village Chief Chi was stunned, and vaguely saw the shadow of a soldier in Xiang Rong's body. His son was like this. Okay, you guys have a good rest. The food is all here, Village Chief Chi said calmly, if you have any difficulties, just come to me. If you correct your mistakes, you are a good comrade. It is our consistent purpose to avoid past mistakes and avoid future ones. After Village Chief Chi left, he thought that everything had calmed down and he could go about production in peace, but the next morning, people from the commune suddenly came to Kijia village to conduct a surprise inspection. Chi Dazu, we will never tolerate it. We must cooperate with our inspection. A group of people wearing liberation uniforms, with pens in their breast pockets and green canvas bags slung across their bodies, walked up to Chi Dazu to show off their power. If Chi Dazu was not convinced or had a bad attitude, he immediately grabbed Chi Dazu's posture. Chi Dazu knew this man, his name was Zhou Hai. He was about 20 years old. He used to burn boilers in a textile factory in the county town. Zhou Hai is not a good guy, Chi Dazu has heard about it for a long time. However, Chi Dazu, who has been the village chief for many years, has seen the world. Even though he is anxious in his heart, he is very calm on his face. If you think about it carefully, from beginning to end, he acted in accordance with the requirements of the commune. On the surface, there was no malpractice for personal gain, let alone protection. Since there are no mistakes, you are not afraid of what others will say. Chi Dazu didn't seem to notice Zhou Haven's face, and he said seriously and calmly with a smile, as soon as these people came to the village, I started arranging tasks the next day. I did everything in accordance with the instructions of the commune. Where did I go wrong? Where is it? Zhou Hai was stunned. Every village he had visited before was always aloof. But Chi Dazu is neither humble nor arrogant, so he is simply uncooperative. In this case, let Chi Dazu know how powerful they are. Someone has reported you, proving that you are not doing your job well. You, Village Chief Chi, have done your best. Zhou Hai sneered, Comrade Chi Dazu, I solemnly warn you now, don't make excuses. Villain, absolutely villain. Call me quibbling. That's it, you say? Don't even look at what you are doing. Are you worthy? Despite the contempt in his heart, Chidazu did not dare to relax. Joe's Huarhei was now targeting him. If he did not resolve it properly, he would be harassed all the time. Director Joe, the person I want to say this doesn't understand the affairs of our village at all. If you don't believe it, you can ask the villagers. Did I do things according to the county's instructions? Village Chief Chi said seriously. He did. He was so good that even if other villagers were asked to say so, they would not say anything wrong with him. Haha, Johai smiled maliciously and took out a letter from a crossbody bag. Other people don't know the situation in your village, but this letter was written by someone from your village. He has no knowledge of the things in your village. I know everything. What else do you have to say? Village Chief Chi was stunned. He had always thought that someone else was reporting him, but he didn't expect that it was someone from the village. It seems that in Kijia village, his prestige is not enough to convince the public. When this happens, there are two possibilities. First, someone had a problem with these old people who came to the village. Second, someone in the village was dissatisfied with him and wanted to replace him as village party secretary. No matter which possibility, Village Chief Chi cannot accept it. Village Chief Chi reached for the letter to see who it was. But Johai had already taken it back and said with a smile, Village Chief Chi, you must not read this letter. We must protect this comrade, otherwise no one will support our work in the future. Since I am anonymous, I am only telling one side. I can only speak after investigation. Village Chief Chi said, I always follow the instructions of the commune. Director Joe, if you don't believe it, you can check it at any time. Village Chief Chi has this confidence. Except for the old white man with a broken leg, everyone else has gone to work in the fields today. Even if Thursday High went to check, nothing would be found. The inspection is necessary, but Village Chief Chi, you can't follow us. We have to investigate in person and get first-hand information. Kaido said proudly on Thursday, the people I brought are doing the inspection. Village Chief Chi felt aggrieved. This was the first time he had been so crowded out by a young man. However, these people were obviously well prepared. Village Chief Chi did not dare to be careless and dealt with them carefully. He Tian was cutting grass on the mountain. The Snake King on his ankle suddenly crawled out and reminded He Tian, who was busy working, saying, the village is coming. There are more than 20 vicious men. They don't look like good people. It seems it's for those old people. Although the Snake King has always been in his own enchanted space, as long as he is not practicing, he can also perceive things outside. He Tian had a good impression of those people, and the Snake King took it to heart. This morning, Professor Gu and others had gone to work, but the old man was resting in the room. The head of village Chi, Gu Nianbei, has a broken leg and cannot work. He Tian didn't care to continue mowing the grass. She picked up the almost full bamboo basket and ran down the mountain quickly. Hey, wait for me. Seeing He Tian running away quickly, the Snake King chased and shouted after him, cursing secretly in his heart. What a bad guy. Aren't you the Snake King? Can you still catch me? He Tian speeded down the mountain without looking back. The Snake King was so angry behind him that his eyes were on fire. He could keep up at short distances, but not at long distances. The Snake King really regrets not killing He Tian before. This ugly woman actually underestimated it. I must let her see how powerful it is and continue to chase after him like a snake. I have caught up, but now I have reached the bottom of the mountain. The Snake King was so exhausted that he hid in the grass in the shade of a tree to rest. Wait until you have a break, and then teach this woman who doesn't know how high the sky is. He Tian arrived at the animal husbandry team and saw that the young people had not arrived yet. He quickly entered the house and said, Grandpa Bai, a group of young people are here. I will help you out. You sit on the ground to dry the grass, which proves that you are also working, to save them from finding trouble. Then I'll trouble you, sweet girl, old man Bai said, letting He Tian Tian help him out. His legs couldn't stand for long, so he had to sit on the ground. He Tian Tian quickly poured the newly cut grass into a pile. As soon as it was poured, he heard a noise coming from outside. Grandpa Bai, I'm sorry, He Tian Tian whispered. She did this to protect old man Bai. In my previous life, nothing like this happened. He Tian Tian felt panicked, guessing that it might be because she had changed some things that the things around her also changed. These old people were also implicated by her, so He Tian Tian hoped that she could do her best to help them. It's okay, old man Bai smiled bitterly, he was having a hard time today. You have to work even if your leg is broken, so that you can show your sincerity, He Tian Tian said sharply. You have to spread these grasses to dry them quickly, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Old man Bai lowered his head, sat on the ground, spread out the grass piled on the ground with both hands, and picked out the weeds inside. At this time, Zhou Huerhe had already led people to the livestock team. He happened to see such a scene and said, "Okay, this is our promising young man." He Tian Tian smiled modestly and said, "Thank you, thank you." "Yes, that's how it should be," Zhou Hai said with a smile. Yes, you did a good job. As you can see, this comrade did a very good job. This is the greatest success of our work." He Tian Tian clapped and said, "You are absolutely right, that's what our village chief Chi said." The young people who followed also began to applaud Zhou Hai. Zhou Huerhe was happy, Kijia village was not bad. However, this trip was in vain and yielded nothing. Thinking about it, on the other hand, passing the surprise inspection can also prove that his work is in place. Village Chief Chi was behind Zhou Hai and was secretly surprised to see He Tian Tian like this. Could it be that He Tian Tian reported him? Village Chief Chi was dubious, but when he saw that Zhou Huerhe had no intention of continuing, he felt slightly relieved. "Village Chief Chi, you have done a good job." Zhou Hai changed his name. "No problem can be found today, and it is indeed busy with large-scale production. If it affects large-scale production, it means that his work is not in place. Director Zheng also will not support him." Chapter 48 can still be read during the day. At around 6 p.m., I received a notification to retreat and it was blocked. I had already modified it and was waiting behind me. There are some places in the article that have pinyin or are separated by spacers. This is also to avoid blocking harmony and causing inconvenience to everyone's reading. I am very sorry. In future writing, I will definitely be careful and try not to be imprisoned in the future. Oh, you are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 51. Although Zhou Huerhe was domineering and causing trouble in the commune, he was still able to continue in this position without being pulled down, and he still had some discernment. If it was what the prosecution letter said, then he had many ways to punish Chi Dazu. But after a round of inspection, it was not as stated in the prosecution letter, so the follow-up plans I had thought about before coming here were of no use. As for the whistleblower, Zhou Huerhe decided to let him go for the time being and keep him as an eyeliner to keep an eye on these villages at any time. It's not for nothing that he has hands and eyes that are open to the sky, and he is well informed. When Village Chief Chi heard what Zhou Hai said, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Zhou Hai, a vicious person, would find out something. If he could not keep his position as village chief, the elderly people in the village would not have a good life either. Pass. It doesn't matter if he doesn't become the village chief, but nothing can happen to these people. His son wrote a letter to tell him. The son works outside. The old man Bai, Xiangrong, and Zoli seem to be from the city. They are probably the people the son wants to protect, or someone may have asked the son to do this. Since he promised his son, he must work hard to do it. Just now, he was a little bit doubtful about whether he Tian was the whistleblower, but after seeing Zhou's Huerhe seeing Old Man Bai working, he praised him for doing a good job, and felt lucky in his heart. Fortunately, he Tian acted quickly and moved Old Man Bai out to work live. Otherwise, there will be no escape this time. Village Chief Chi also understood that fighting with these wolves and tigers now would not bring any benefit at all, and would cause more trouble, so he decided to swallow his anger and slowly investigate who wrote the complaint letter. Rectify the atmosphere in the village. They are all calls from the organization and instructions from the commune, Village Chief Chi said. Director Zhou has also worked hard. He has been busy working for our commune. Seeing Village Chief Chi praising him, Zhou Hai showed a rare smile and said, they are all serving the people. Since there is nothing major in your village, the inspection is over and the contents of the report letter are not true. But in the future, you must continue to work hard and cooperate with us. Work. Remember Director Zhou's instructions, Village Chief Chi said. It's almost noon, why don't you have a quick meal with me? When he thought about so many people and the need to eat so much food, Village Chief Chi felt his flesh aching, so his tone could not be considered sincere. Zhou's Huerhe seemed to be smiling but not smiling. He saw that Village Chief Chi was in a dilemma. He had not completed the task today and had no time to eat. He refused and said, no, our team does not take the common people's needles and threads, and their rice and porridge. When Village Chief Chi heard this, he was relieved that there was no need to waste food. Then we invite Director Zhou to come and sit at home. Village Chief Chi chuckled and took out 2 packs of cigarettes for Zhou Hai. If you don't want to eat, I'll take these 2 packs of cigarettes and treat them as a refreshment for your comrades. Of Zhou's Huerhe did not refuse, and took over and said, thank you very much, Village Chief Chi, for supporting our work. I won't disturb Village Chief Chi. We are going back first, and you can continue your work. Yes, thank you, Director Zhou, for reminding me, Village Chief Chi said. He hoped that today's matter could be resolved as soon as possible. In the case of disunity within the village, he was unable to be tough on the outside world. He was always worried about someone trying to trick him behind his back, and he had no time to take care of himself. After all, what he did was selfish and could not withstand careful and rigorous investigation. It is normal to be a little worried. Zhou Hai left Kijia village with more than 20 young men, and Village Chief Chi sent them to the entrance of the village. When he Tian saw the person leaving, she blushed and hurriedly stepped forward to apologize. Grandpa Bai, I'm sorry. I was forced by the situation just now. Those words were not from my heart. I just hope I can help you to avoid. Old Man Bai sat on the stool and chuckled nonchalantly. You are very clever. Seeing that Grandpa Bai was not angry, he Tian was relieved and said, I went to the county some time ago and saw that the leader Zhou Hai was very vicious. I saw them coming this way, and I was afraid they would be like this too. To you, so. Okay, I won't be angry. The situation at that time was very urgent. You were doing it for my own good. I am not an indiscriminate person, Old Man Bai said. Everyone else has gone to work. If I sleep in the house de Zhu, when these people come in, they don't care whether my leg is broken or not. I probably won't survive with my old bones. Grandpa Bai, you will live a long life, he Tian flattered. When my father put me on the train, he told me that as long as a person is alive, he will have hope. If he is no longer alive, even if no matter what good things happen in the future, we won't be able to catch up, so we have to live well so that we can see the hope in the future. Your father is right, it is better to die than live, Old Man Bai said with emotion. He had always listened to his boss's words, but this time he gritted his teeth and stood up. This time he was assigned to this place, and Old Man Bai had already sensed his boss's intentions. In order to live up to the old leader's wishes, he must take good care of himself here and wait for the opportunity. After village chief Chi saw off Zhou Hai, he came to the livestock team again. Seeing He Tian Tian and old man by talking and laughing, he felt slightly relaxed and asked, "Tian girl, thank you for being smart today, otherwise." He Tian Tian was embarrassed to be praised and said, "There is no need to praise me. I just wanted everyone to be safe. I didn't think too much." Hey, who doesn't want to be safe? This time Zhou Hai suddenly attacked Kijia village. Someone in the village reported that I was using my power for personal gain and did not perform the tasks of the commune. I was very busy today. The other 6 people went out to work. When Zhou Hai checked one by one, they are all working in the fields. There are no arrangements for Bai Lao because of his broken leg, but those people will not care about it, village chief Chi said with emotion. He Tian Tian was able to escape today. As credit. Just now he misunderstood He Tian Tian, and he was judging the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a villain. Pray that today's novel will not be blocked. All the sensitive names have been changed. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 52. Every time it is put on the shelves, I feel very excited, as if I am 10 months pregnant and about to give birth. It was uploaded on August 14th and updated once a day. Some readers left messages below asking for updates. I actually wanted to update, but the editor said that the new book issue should be updated steadily, just in time to be on the shelves in October, so I would like to solemnly explain that updates can be added when recommended. By the way, I would like to thank those who urged updates. It's everyone's comments that make me feel that what I write is being read by others, and it seems to be pretty good. Asterisk carrot. Carrot asterisk, hee, let me have some fun. It will be on the shelves tomorrow, and I would like to thank all the readers who support me. Ahem. First of all, I received 10,000 recommendation votes this month, which made my novel jump from the dozen to the 5th place during the 4-week client new book period. Although I didn't rank first, seeing my book titles moving up one by one as everyone voted made me feel like a fish swimming upstream, struggling hard. It's just that, there are a lot of people who voted for recommendation, and there are also many names. It takes a lot of time to write them one by one, so I won't thank them one by one here. However, Kikai promises that he will read through the writer's assistant on the mobile client every day. Thank you again to the old readers and new readers who voted for me. Secondly, I would like to thank everyone who often interacts with me in the book review area. A warm word and a good mood for the whole day. Sometimes, everyone's suggestions and guesses surprise me. Everyone is very smart, so I ask myself to have more imagination and write some unexpected stories. If your imagination is too big and your brains burst out, don't be surprised. Oh, mathematical intersection symbol. Mathematical intersection symbol, oh haha. I am using the Pinyin input method and there are typos. I check it twice before uploading, but sometimes there are typos, which is really a sin. If there are typos in it, feel free to catch them. I will correct them immediately after I see them. I would like to express my special thanks to the little insect catching experts Ian and Fat Girl. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who tipped me this month. Book Friend 140-3371, MRS Heming, Aunt Maylaya 520, Joyt, Mui Lily, Fat Girl 0915, Good Man Lou, Little Eyes That Are Not Awake, Doll, Colton, YTT Dao Tao, Bookworm Like a Dream, XBBFFF, Maple Snow Under the Trees, I'm Going to Yachty, Moonlight Viewing, Book Friends 1609370, Book Friends 15073 Errol 243, Snow Lingling Haha, Night Wind Chimes, Miss Ming, Si Yang Baby, Mo Yangzi, Glorious Things Are Young, Planet Village, Dry Land Fish, Real Ink, Daodue Aishasha, Binlu, Tien Tien, Under the Fireworks, Swibeo 1989, Qui 2341111, Liojiaxing Tiangxia, Jasmine 123, etc. Big rewards. More or less it's all love. Moi. Finally, let's talk about the updates after it goes on sale in October. On the day it was released, 8 chapters and 16,000 new chapters were released. Starting from the 2nd, there will be 2 updates of 4,000 words. After that, 20 monthly votes will be added and 1 chapter will be added. Special reminder that the 1st to 7th is the time when the monthly votes are doubled. If you vote for 10 votes, you will get 20 votes. It is very cost effective. If you have votes, you can vote. As for the rewards, 2 more chapters will be added to Heshabai. As for the spiritual eggs and fairy grass, those are too expensive, save them and subscribe to the novel. But there are big rewards, and there are even bigger ones. Asterisk carrot. Carrot asterisk, hee hee. So much rambling, so far, let's thank the readers with updates and stories. I hope everyone will continue to support Kikai and support genuine subscriptions.